Hi, Imani. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday. How are you?
Oh, I'm well too. Welcome to Tam Talks.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, and your skin, as I said, looks amazing. I'm loving it.
Girl, thank you. I've been drinking only water in terms of beverages, like no juices, and I've been sleeping. Who would have thought?
It's a great combination that people don't realize how much you need it. And in the Caribbean, that along with breeze is life. It's everything.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
so good.
Thank you.
So I have been watching, first, before we even get into everything else, I have been watching your Instagram posts, and you have been throwing it down in the kitchen, on the grill, and making us all hungry. How do you feel now you're getting a chance to cook so much? And it's not just that you cook, that you played it in the presentation, and everything is just like on point.
Well, I gotta tell you, so my sister went to culinary school. So she is literally a certified chef. Everyone in my family cooks, and I kind of got the rep of being able to make a really great grocery store run. And I just decided this was, again, my second chance. I'm going to learn how to cook because I can do my standard, listen, I'm not crazy at it, but I can hold my own. But I really wanted to step it up. So I learned how to make short ribs. I made biscuits yesterday. We did salmon. It's been lovely, and I love food. So I need to know how to cook it.
I agree with that. I always believe that if you love something, you should know how to do it. I was watching your salmon post yesterday, and I was like,
Girl.
and then when you put it on the grill with the asparagus, I was like, yes.
Girl. And then a little bit of lemon, like it slapped. It was so good. It was so good. I just had it for lunch. Like, the second day, the seasonings really marinate. So,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. This is my yes.
Yes.
How have you found yourself coping with everything going on with the quarantine, with how your life was, maybe for the last couple of years to now? How are you transitioning?
I mean, what a transition. I'm so comfortable being very busy, moving very quickly. I think I almost thrive under pressure. I like to stack my days, and I like to get things done. And I think that I would have continued doing that. And this really forced me to pause and to take inventory of things and to kind of realize that the whole world is going through this. And so to try to live every day as if it was the world we used to live in was just kind of like wasted energy. So I've just been really taking it day by day. Again, for me, being with my family, being in nature, it's been amazing, and it's been what's working for me. And I've also been spending it kind of like being a student. Like, I'm taking time to read a lot of books I didn't have time to read. I'm watching movies I didn't have time to watch, because I know that when it's time to go back outside and work, I'm a workaholic. So that part of my life will never probably slow down, but the resting part is where I'm really trying to focus my energy and attention on.
I like that. I agree with that. And I believe, everybody should figure out what works for them in this season to be their best self in this season. So I like that. You said that you've been catching up on your books and watching movies. What has been your favorite book so far and your favorite movie?
Ooh, my goodness. So my favorite book, I'm reading two very different kind of books, actually. It's actually like right here, which is funny. I'm reading this book called On Being Nice. It's from the School of Life, and it's so good. It's just like humanity, which is like my favorite thing, because communities are just built on amazing humans. And then for books, I'm reading Dear Founder, which I'm always talking about that book. I think it's so amazing because it compartmentalizes the different parts of entrepreneurship. And so I'm really just like combing through it, getting my bookworm on. And then my third book, which I have to yet to start, but I've heard so many good things. And I hear this is like one of Jay-Z's favorite books. So I'm just,
And
reading them all.
you have me reading Dear Founder. I got the downloadable version. You have the actual physical version.
Yeah.
So, because remember when you posted on Instagram, so I screenshot it and I started like going through the books, and I was fascinated by Dear Founder because it's like literally, I was trying to understand the name of the book, but when I started to read it, I was like, oh, it's letters. And I like that at
Yeah.
different points of your business, a different point of your growth process. And I think it's so necessary because a lot of times people write a basic book that covers, a flat line. But
Right.
this book goes to, I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but at least from what I'm reading, I'm excited to get to the end. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think the best part is you don't have to read it all the way through, which is unlike most books, right? It's like you start at the beginning and you go to the end. For Dear Founder, depending on where you are in life, are you like, do you have a team? Are you by yourself? Do you want funding? Are you bootstrapping? Do you need help with finances? Did you pay your taxes? You can go to different parts. And I think that's kind of cool because what I'm realizing, it's like if you don't have a strong foundation or process, then you could have the most beautiful business on the outside, but it needs to work inside. And I think that's kind of the part that people have the most questions about because they only get to see the pretty part, but it's like the engine is what makes it all run. So,
Agree with that.
you know.
Do you think at any point, with all the knowledge, all the wealth of information, and you being you, at some point you'll write a book?
Hmm. I don't know. Like there's so many books out there. I think that like I need a little bit more living,
Hmm.
but I'm not totally against it. I love words, so maybe one day. But yeah, I need like a few more like crisis under my belt. Like I've had a lot, but give me like a few more. Let me not actually ask for that. Let me not ask for that. Let me not ask for that. But yes, a little bit more experience is how we'll say, not crisis, experience.
Ah, I think at this stage you are already, I don't know what else you can go through. I mean, I don't know everything, but I feel like you're just a good example of what it means to keep pushing, what it means to be consistent. And because over the years that, I followed you, I have read articles that you've written. One of the things that you have stood firm on is consistency. So I mean, that alone, I don't think people realize how much consistency is important.
Yeah.
A lot of times when they get 3 or 4 no's, okay, every day walk away. But is that keep going, and that consistency is what actually separates a lot of successful people. I'm pointing to you even though this camera is somewhere else. A lot of successful people from everybody else. So I love that. I think you have so much information to offer, and I'll be like first in line to get that book whenever you decide to do it.
Ooh, okay. Well, listen, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I take notes every chapter of my life, and I'm, always like looking back like, whew, you've come a ways, and I'm excited to see where I'm going to continue to go with God. But I think consistency is the most important trait other than integrity when it comes to building a business. Like consistency is so key. And, being a former athlete, it's just kind of how I'm built. I don't understand starting a project to end it. If that's the case, then like don't even start, just like go on vacation. So yeah, girl, that's so amazing that you've picked that up. I think that's something that's super important.
Yeah. What would you say is your greatest lesson that you have learned on this journey?
That one of the greatest lessons that I've learned on this journey is that the hard times and success are not mutually beneficial. That in fact, you need the valleys to make you humble and strong, and the hilltops, help you know that you're going in the right direction. But the hills and the valleys are actually like that duality is what you need. I think a lot of times we prefer, of course, that it always be amazing, but the amount of peace that I have in my life right now is a direct correlation at knowing that there were times when I didn't have peace at all. And so when you're able to sleep through the night, you're thankful to God because you know that there were nights you couldn't sleep. You were waking up at 3 a.m. And so I think, that's kind of been the biggest lesson is that hills and valleys, you need them both.
That is true. I want to say amen. So amen.
Yes.
I believe that. I really believe that. Oh wow, I love that. The first time I met you, you meet some people and you notice something different about them, but you can't figure out what it is. So it was like that. I just knew there was something different about you, in a good way. And then as I started to, browse through your life, I noticed that you're double PK, not just a PK, but double PK. I know everybody has these ideas of what being a PK is, the struggles or whatever. My question is, how do you balance being a PK and being in the line of work that you're in?
I think the kind of cool thing about my parents is, you know, one, they never like forced fed anything like down our throats. They just led by example. And so a lot of people can't believe I'm a PK because, I was driving when I was 15. I was working in entertainment. And I think that if you're true to yourself, and again, if you have integrity, that you can bring yourself everywhere that you go. And so I'm a publicist by day. And a lot of times, I hear it. I used to be so shocked, and I'm like, okay. They used to say, I cannot believe you're so nice. I cannot believe and now don't get it wrong. The job gets done. And when I need to be stern and there's deadlines and there's disrespect, best believe there are conversations that need to be had. But, for the most part, I think you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. And so I just try to bring that version of myself everywhere that I go. Because I don't know another way. So I never really, I guess, thought about it. I'm a human like everyone else. So I'm, always trying to get it right. But I think that if you make it to the top, but you didn't do it as your full self, it's like, what is the point? Now you got to start all over and introduce the world to who you really are. It's like, that's a lot of work. So I'm just going to be who I am. And that way I can attract the right kind of people into my life.
I love that. I always say to that statement that you made is, if you're going to, rather than getting to know a second side of your personality, I've could have gotten to know two people in that space of time. And so I do believe in being yourself, and the people that are supposed to love you will love you, and the people that are not supposed to, that's okay. You don't like them anyhow. So, so I love that. If you could have dinner with either Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, or Gandhi, who would you have dinner with and why?
Okay, that's easy. Either Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. Like those are, I'm obsessed with both of them. Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with the 60s. I'm obsessed with the civil rights movement. I would say Malcolm X. I just adore him. I love how he fully transformed his life from kind of like living this life as Big Red to then becoming Malcolm X to then at the end of his life almost kind of saying, I thought I had it all figured out, but actually there's so much more to learn about human nature and why people do the things that they do. And I think Martin Luther King has an interesting is so like not even the word, but like both of them I think obviously had a stance and put their flag in the ground for how they felt. And both of them at the end of their lives, kind of looked back and wondered, was there more to what they were doing, but I would say Malcolm X. I'm just like, I just watched the Malcolm X movie with my dad with Denzel Washington. And I'm just like, I just love when people are who they say they are. And the thing with Malcolm X is like, even when the CIA was listening in on him, they were like, oh my God, he's such a goody. He's so like, and I need my heroes to be who they say they are. So I don't want to meet someone who's putting it on. I work in entertainment. Okay. I have enough of that. I want to meet heroes who are who they say they are. So long way to answer your question, but Malcolm X.
No, I love it because there was a why. So I like the why behind it. One of the things that I enjoy about you, and it's crazy because in a good way crazy, is that you're so young, but you're also so old. It's like, it's just, and I mean old in not in a good way. it's like the things you enjoy, the things I see you like the Temptations and listening to these speech and watching like not just these regular movies, but anything that will educate you on your history, on your culture. What do you think is the derivative for you being so in tune with who you are, with your culture, and not just keeping it for yourself, but sharing it with us and educating us in the right way? And, not always projecting, like some people I find project anger, but instead you project knowledge. What do you think has driven you to do it that way?
Man, these are such good questions, can I just say? But my parents are a huge North Star for me. I'm so thankful for them because they shaped my world, and a part of that world was history. Like, we would go to museums when we were like 5 years old. My mom would take us to civil rights museums. I mean, all over the country. We went to the Lorraine Hotel, where unfortunately Martin Luther King was assassinated. And, my dad and my parents, that was just very important. And I didn't really appreciate it as much as a child, but of course you get older and you're like, whoa. And I think I'm just so fascinated at how our lives are kind of like these vapors. They seem like they'll go on forever. It seems like we're going to be young forever. We'll be in our 20s and 30s forever. And then we start to really realize that, you're on borrowed time, and that Martin Luther King used to be 29 and Malcolm X used to be 29. It just really fascinates me how, in 50 years, people will look back at the work that we're doing and they'll have, things to say about that. And so I think, for me, I really kind of came into my own these last 2 years. You know, I just like the things that I like. I love the 1960s. I love history. I love Black excellence. I love how brilliant we are. And I just have come to accept it. Like, I love Meg the Stallion, but like not, I mean, I don't know all her songs, but I know all the Temptations. Like, I think it just resonates with me because, I don't know. I mean, I just love history. I love history. And so I think that, watching all of those kind of just learning is just, I don't know. Am I a dork, a geek? I don't know. I don't know. I love it though. And I think it's really cool that the more I kind of just show the things that I'm interested in, that people are like, oh man, that's so cool. Because it used to be that I would only show people like red carpets and look at this. And it just, okay, that's like a part of who I am, but not like all of who I am.
But I love that you are being the example that we don't really always have, because a lot of times for our culture, we're taught the red carpet, the music, but we're really not taught the culture. And some people learn the culture through rap, which is not necessarily always a good thing.
Right, right.
So it's good to have someone to show you that we can have both. There's a balance to life, and I have God. I do red carpet, but I also love my culture, and neither overpowers the other. It's just like a good mix,
That's
and I love
that's exactly it. And that was the whole point of the creative collective, was I think people want to so easily put you in a box that, like, oh,
yeah.
you do this and you do that. And I love going to CultureCon and being people being like, oh, like, have you been here before? And I'm like, nope. I like nope, regular schmegular, like, because that's not all of who I am. And it's yeah, it's exciting to kind of be able to be like your full self.
I like that. So you just go to your events incognito.
Sure do. I slide right in the background. And it just depends. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, do you know who started this? And I'm like, some girl. I don't know. And some days I'm like, me.
I like that. So a while ago, you have retweeted a post, and I want to know if you still believe this. It someone has said, best career advice that I can give: don't ever attach yourself to a person, a place, a company, an organization, or a project. Attach yourself to a mission, a calling, a purpose only. That's how you keep your power and your peace. It worked pretty well for me thus far. Do you still believe this with everything fiber in your being?
1,000%. I think that it's so great to find your purpose, and it's so great to have a job that you love. But if you are attaching your worth to things like that, and then a COVID-19 happens and you're laid off, what where do you even go with that? And I think I, to be quite honest, had a hard time with that because I worked so hard to get the job that I got. I did all the unglamorous things, and, building a company is also a lot of work. But I think that this time has been super great at kind of being able to say kind of what you just said, that that's part of the things that I do, but it's not who I am. Who I am is a daughter, a Black woman, a sister. And there's so much more to me than these amazing conferences. Now, that doesn't negate the fact that these conferences and spaces are necessary, but, you know, if there wasn't a culture con, there would still be an Imani.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Okay. I like that. That's beautiful. Since we're speaking on CultureCon, what is the trajectory that you see for CultureCon right now? And I know with everything going on, I know some people are saying, oh, now we can't meet together. The world has ended. I do believe people should have started transitioning to digital a while ago because that's where we're going. But how do you see maybe CultureCon either changing or evolving in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's definitely no turning back on the digital play of it. Last year we were playing around with doing digital tickets. And I think now that's like inevitable in terms of always making sure that, people who are in South Africa or even LA can be a part of the creative collective. In terms of the future, listen, I and our entire team always takes our cues from the community. So we do a poll every year after CultureCon, and we ask you guys, like, what do you want to see more of? Like, what did you hate? And we go from there. I used to be very like prescriptive in terms of in next year and this year. And don't get me wrong, I still have like internal goals, but I've kind of passed my goals. Like my goal was to invite some people over to my living room. We are so beyond that now it just seems silly to try to put ourselves in the box. So, we're really excited to continue to expand to different cities. And once we're able to go outside again, I can't wait to do that, in Atlanta. And then of course, New York will always be home.
What was the most surprising thing for you that happened when you were doing CultureCon? You got into your living room, you planned, and finally decided, okay, we're going to make it manifest. What was the most surprising and the most difficult thing to make that dream? Because it's one thing to sit with your friends and we talk. It's one thing to even sit with your friends and plan. It is still one thing to even sit and, make calls, but it's another thing to actually see it physically manifest itself. What was the most surprising thing and the most difficult thing to see that?
The most surprising thing? I don't know if I was ever surprised. Like, I'm pretty, I'm, I don't know. I anticipate a lot of things because I used to worry a lot. And because of that, it doesn't really leave a lot of room for surprise, but I guess like surprise in a good way. I mean, standing on that stage with the entire team and realizing like there isn't any like Wizard of Oz behind a curtain. It's us all together. Those incredible individuals, we start planning in January, right? Like that's not the sexy part, but it's so much teamwork, and I'm very thankful that, I'm able to build things with my friends. And then the most challenging and difficult part is capital. No investors, and when you are throwing something that large in New York City, there's a lot of just like, I guess even bigger than capital, there's just so many regulations in terms of things that people don't even think about, like how many fire marshals you have. Do you have a TPA? Do you have food regulations? Do you have an emergency ER on, do you have enough seats? Do you have enough food? All of those things, especially in the age of social media, we saw what happened with Firefest. One thing goes awry and now everyone's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going there. And so we knew that we had to go. We had to be on time. The food had to be on point. Had to have. So I think it's just kind of like, it's kind of good to be naive a little bit when you're going into business. Because if you knew everything behind that curtain, I don't know if you'd sign up for it. But because you don't,
Fact.
Because you don't, you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to make a flyer and then that's all we got to do.
Oh, that's a fact though. I would definitely say that because some of the stuff I've done, if I knew the work, I was like, oh, Jesus, yes.
Right. Right. So that's with life though. Like if you knew so many things, you'd probably second guess it, but it's probably for the best that you don't.
We would probably self-quarantine on a regular.
Right.
And never go outside. Yeah, that's good. So I always advocate for my Caribbean community because I'm West Indian of birth. Will you incorporate a little bit more Caribbean culture at some point because I feel a lot of times, even with, Black events, I think the Caribbean culture is a lot of times unspoken for. Most of the times you just see us on the parkway. But I would personally, for me, I would love to see the Caribbean culture because a lot of people, if you talk to them, they have Caribbean ancestry, whether it be Guyanese, Jamaicans, Trini, Bajans, whatever. Do you think at some point they incorporate a little bit more to actually show diversity in the Black community, as in the Caribbean being a part of that?
1,000%. I think one of the things that we've realized is as our platform gets bigger, we have to constantly make sure that we're checking our own blind spots, right? That you're not just speaking as a Black woman from the South, right? Who has a very different experience from someone who was born in Jamaica. And we've had similar conversations with the Afro-Latina community, right? Like there's such a myriad of experiences. And I think for so long, people were trying to make this Black experience, this one size fits all prescription, and it's not. And so 1,000%, like I think we really, really want to do a forward thinking job of, again, not being so limiting in the perspective. And that's something that's been on our goals list for 2020, because you don't want to end up kind of boxing yourself in within your own community.
I like that. I support that. I'm all for that.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas though, I mean, again, it takes a village. So like, I don't know what I don't know. So like, I tell people all the time, like DM me conversations or DM me talent, because, our team is incredible and there's a lot of perspectives, but, we're serving nearly 50,000 people. So
yes,
the more input, the better. We have so many people that just like email us like, hey guys, not even sure if you're asking for this, but here's an amazing panelist that you should look into. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this person existed. Like, perfect.
I like that. I like that you take information from everybody, because that's how you, like you said, better serve the community. And I think that sometimes that's what's lacking. We project our vision and what we want, but not, actually helping. So I love that. Yeah. I'm always advocating for my Caribbean people. I'm sorry.
No, don't ever apologize. I mean, I think it's so important. And I think there's so many, listen, there's so much to unpack. There's so many conversations and perspectives to be had. And I love it, because I think a lot of people assume that their Black is my Black is your Black, and they're all different and beautiful and incredible and unique, but they're really different experiences. And I don't even know. I mean, I have to figure out, I don't know my ancestry. I know that I'm a descendant of slaves because of my last name and because I'm from the South, but you know what I mean? That's very limiting. I don't know which country my ancestors came from. And so that's a different perspective, but yeah, I think it's really important.
I hear that. I like that. I'm for that. I'm happy. I think my Caribbean people will be very happy. Because, for example, like you said, one thing you said just now is, so a lot of people don't know this about me. I don't enjoy hip hop music. I don't get it. I don't understand rap. I don't get it. I have to listen to it too many times. However, give me a good soca and dancehall beat and I'm happy. And the weird thing is I actually like country music.
Yeah, that's not weird. But see what
people think it's weird.
But no. See, that's it. See, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I'm talking about. It is not weird. Black people invented country music.
You think it's weird? Like when I say to people that I like country music, I like contemporary music, oh gosh, I love the ballet. Oh, it's the best thing.
Yeah, I did ballet for 14 years. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, we really have to do better
Yes.
at we're perpetuating these. What does that even mean, that you can't like country music? Like, do people even, yeah, I could go on and on and on, but I think that's what really happened is like, I just decided that I was allowed to enjoy whatever I enjoy. And that's why I tell people that I did ballet, because I want them to say, wait, what? But you're Black. But yeah, yeah, it's possible. It's so possible. And we just have to make more space for each other, because even you said, I mean, think about it. You just were talking about, you know, your preferences, and you led with, I'm sorry. No.
Like I've been, like a lot of people would say, like, I haven't seen a lot, like I've never seen Next Friday, or any of these movies. And I have literally been told that I revoked my Black card because, but I explained to people I didn't grow up, so I can't like attach myself to the movies to understand them. So it's not that I'm discrediting the culture. I love my culture. I love being Black. It's the best thing. I love my skin. I love my skin. Like, I get upset when people decide to bleach, because I feel like that's what makes us unique. The fact that we have different tones, the fact that we have, you know, different layers to who we are. And I love that. But it doesn't mean that I relate to every aspect of being Black. And that's what I think people miss.
Yeah, the Shade Room had this funny post that was like, name one thing that like you'd be ashamed to say, but like it's a safe space. And people were like, I don't like fried chicken. I hate macaroni and cheese. I've never eaten watermelon. I mean, it was just like great, perfect. And I think the more that we just lean into who we really are, the more representation, it's like educating other people. But I think most importantly, it's educating ourselves, because I used to kind of, again, it goes back to what you were just saying in terms of the things that I share and the things that I'm interested in. I like history. I minored in German. I did ballet. I love Malcolm X. I love Black people. I work with white people. All of these things can exist in like one human being. Yeah.
I think for too long we've been told that it can't, and I feel like that's where a lot of the disconnects has come from.
Yeah.
That you have to become one with it, or just be one way, and we're not told that we're allowed to explore the different parts of our personalities, the different parts of who we are. And because we're different, that's what makes us unique, and that's what connects us. Because then the way I could connect to Imani, I might connect with somebody else differently, but then somehow all three of us come together and make one big lovely connection. And I love that about life. So thank you for making me feel special.
Of course.
And fun, even I keep hearing about fried chicken and watermelon. I've never had it. I have no idea what it means to have fried chicken and watermelon.
Wait, I'm sorry. You've never had fried chicken?
And watermelon, like the whole combination that I hear.
Oh, you don't have to have them together. You can just, yeah.
No, I've never been in a setting where it's like that. Like growing up Caribbean, there's no such thing as we give you fried chicken.
Oh.
Right. So they're like how you guys have your barbecues or your hangout. At least again, we don't have that. So I was never au fait till you go to an event and there's like fried chicken, watermelon. Mm-hmm. It was weird to me.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah, like you get food like rice and curry chicken and cook-up rice. Like that's how we eat. So it's different.
Yum. I mean, oh my gosh, I just ate, and see, now I'm hungry again. I'm so greedy. No, I completely agree. It's like the same thing as like, you know, in the South we're like soda, and then in Chicago they're like pop. It's just like different, small, nuance, you know, things.
I think I think that's what Culture Con is highlighting too. That we're Black, but we're different Black, but we're still Black, and that doesn't change.
Exactly. Like we really want you to come as exactly who you are. There's no space for you to be shrinking. And if you like Star Wars, perfect, great. If you don't like watermelon, perfect, great. We're unlearning. And I think one of my favorite parts about being in quarantine and being in solitude is just like taking an inventory of the things that I truly enjoy. I'm an introvert, so I only really go out to these events because like I need to support my friends or support the causes, but I would prefer to be inside. That's just how I get my energy.
That is true. And so during this entire quarantine, I realized, like, I was laughing at my friend only yesterday. I was like, do you realize I've always lived the quarantine life? What you guys are calling quarantine? Because my son is homeschooled. I work from home. My husband works from home. Sometimes we're in the house all week and just leave Sunday to go to church. And like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like I see everybody posting these throwback pictures of when they went out, and I'm like, Tamika, your pictures are all indoors. So there's nothing to
Right.
throwback.
Yeah, I'm trying to not gloat too much, but I'm like, happy, happy, I'm inside, I'm happy. So yeah,
There you
I
go.
love it.
How do you balance being a publicist? What's the hardest thing of being a publicist, especially in such an evolving, ever-changing, non-stagnant industry?
I think the hardest thing is that there's a lot of first times, and you really have to be able to anticipate the future. Like when a publicist is doing their job right, you're not really actually knowing much about them. They're in the shadows, they're helping to put out fires, they're crafting the narrative. So we really are, constantly on the defense. So I would say in terms of like my job, I would say maybe hmm, like 30% of my job is just like everyday job. 70% of my job is responding to something, responding to a crisis, responding to a leak, responding to a comment, responding to TMZ. So you really have to be able to have that type of mentality that like you can anticipate, oh nope, this is where this is going, and also have the mentality that you understand that certain fires are like, got to put this out now, and certain fires like you can put that out at the end of the day, and knowing the difference is what's going to keep you from going insane.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know. I didn't think of it that way. The way you just said it, with the everydays in your experience, or learning new things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's why I've done it so long, is I really love it, and I'm always learning different things, and a lot of it is repeated experiences, but there's always something new. I mean, it is a new experience every day.
I'm happy that even you're safe. I'm happy to know that the Creative Collective is going to move forward regardless of everything. I am happy that you are one of my role models. I love, and I've said it to you before, and I meant it. I I don't accept a lot of people as role models, and I'm the person, I always tell people, I like the people behind the scenes more than in front. I feel like I don't think you guys get enough credit for being behind the scenes. I think you guys work extremely hard because you're behind the scenes, because you're behind the camera. Like, I love the engineers and the sound guys. That's who I gravitate to majority of the times. Even like when I go to events, that's the people I want to meet. Like, how did you do this? How did you switch your camera? How did you stop this? For me, those are the people. No offense to the people in front, they're awesome, but it's just my thing. I've just always been that person. Maybe because my husband is a producer and I see what he does behind the scene. I don't know, but I like, you're the person. If I go to an event, I would pick your brain more than say there was a famous person there. I'd be like, all right, cool. So, girl, how you doing? Right?
Right, right. No, I'm the same way. I was super curious, like, who builds this schedule? Who builds this program? I'm, yeah, totally aligned.
Yeah, I think it's important that we learn, and in order for us to do that, we need not to just see what's in front, but also behind. That's the best way for us to learn. What in being a publicist has helped you a lot in transitioning with the creative collective? Like, what is that thing that, has been good, has been helpful? I learned a lot here, so I'm able to then put it over here.
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe if you can be a publicist, you can do anything, because we're so many different things. We're producers, we're copywriters, we're everything. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is just being able to see the bigger picture and being able to, we're super organized. And we're also people. So I majored in communication. So I know how to effectively communicate. And I didn't realize that was a skill until you're with people who do not know how to communicate. You're like, what are you trying to say? what are you trying to say? And so, I'm able to kind of decipher the communication styles and how people prefer to get their information. And then I can flex that style when I'm talking to them. And I think that's 1,000% a direct correlation from being a publicist.
Gotcha. What do you say to people that has this, mm, I guess, archaic mentality that I seen a post about it, and I've seen people comment on it, hence me asking the question, that all Black people, we come from broken homes. Our fathers are in jail, and we probably would amount to, nothing, or just be whatever. What is your take on people that believe, and I mean like believe this, because I guess that's what they were taught, that's what they learned, and somehow they can. What would you say to somebody in that would even spew or think of spewing a message like that?
Not much, really. I don't really waste time on things like that because my life is a reflection. I can't relate. I don't come from a broken home. I know a lot of, Black people who don't. I know white friends who have divorced parents. I know Black friends who have divorced parents. And I think that, sometimes your life can be a testimony to debunk things like that. I think a lot of your life, you have to just decide where you're putting your energy. Like, live your best life and you will debunk myths like that all day long. If someone told me that all Black people came from abroad, I honestly would probably be like, I don't even think I would reply. I don't have time. So, you just got to decide what you're going to respond to. And I get it. People have time, and there are people that want to reply to comments like that. And I can understand thinking, oh, surely if I just talk to them, they'll see. But like, sometimes you don't have time and you have to live your life, and they can be left behind. That's just how I feel. If someone told me that, I literally might be like, I might just walk past them.
I hear that.
Can't relate.
I can't either. That's why it's always fascinating to hear that.
Yeah.
Um,
And let me just say, that's not to discredit
right.
coming from broken homes and doing better for yourself. There is no shame in 400 years of slavery and then there being no repercussions. So, I mean, it's just such a inaccurate argument because people who say they pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. No, you didn't. You had years of privilege and help and, pay gaps. And I think that's why I wouldn't really acknowledge it, because Black people, we're amazing. I don't even know how we have come this far given the traumatic and horrible experiences that we have been put through. Like, it's just remarkable and a testament to our strength and our resilience. And listen, you're going to respect us today.
I agree with that. I couldn't agree with that more. And I've never been more proud to be a Black woman than I am, especially in this day and age. Growing up, I was never taught the color of my skin, so it wasn't anything that I focused on. But as I got older, so I wasn't exposed to, I was told I was exposed to racism, but I didn't realize it was racism. I don't know if that makes any sense. So it kind of like flew over my head, I guess. But as I got older, it's like you start to understand the beauty and the power and the greatness in being who you are and embracing who you are. And, it's an amazing thing. Being Black is beautiful. It's handsome. I don't know. I suddenly become like, yeah, very pro-Black.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with being able to acknowledge all the things that make us special, and we shouldn't feel ashamed of that. And again, it's not so about we're special, which means you're not.
Correct.
It just is like, can we just celebrate the resilience and the pure magic that, come through from our ancestors? And there's also a time and a place to acknowledge your contributions as well. But I don't think that we do that enough. So I'm so glad that we can do it here.
Oh. So I want to play a quick game with you.
Okay.
So I'll ask you about 5 to 8 questions, and you basically have like 5 seconds to respond to me.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Ready.
I'm smiling. All right. What's your favorite food?
Ooh, chicken fingers.
Ooh. What's your favorite color?
Black.
Aww. What's the best thing about being Imani?
Ooh. Unpredictable. I like to do a lot of different things.
Well, what does Imani do for fun?
Ooh. Gosh, I watch TV.
Oh, God. No, when I say Imani, because you come in different, sectors of life.
That's what I mean. It's like, it depends. Like, you got me on a Friday, but ask me on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I might say, go on a road trip. But today it's like rainy outside. So I love watching TV and having no plans.
What is the best swag you've ever received?
That's hard. Yikes. I got a Louis Vuitton candle once. I thought that was really, really nice. It smells really good.
Oh, cool. Okay. Do you prefer shoes or bags?
Shoes.
Ew. How many pairs of shoes do you have?
Maybe 60.
Okay. Now, shoes or sneakers?
Okay, what kind of shoes?
Pumps or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Okay. So we got to know a little bit more about Imani. She likes Louis Vuitton candles. She prefers sneakers. On a Friday, she's all about the movies. And on the weekend, she's probably about the car rides.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we're happy. We're happy. So for those of you that wanted to know a little bit more about her, apart from work and, the busyness, you got to know a little bit more. So guys, get her Louis Vuitton candles.
Yes. Yes, and feed me. Easy.
See, she likes her chicken fingers. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it. Honey mustard, barbecue, switch it up.
Oh, what? Your favorite sauce is barbecue sauce?
And honey mustard. They're like tied. I love them both equally.
For the love of the sauce. Do you make yours from scratch, or is there a specific store that you like your from?
I don't make it from scratch. I love like the Chick-fil-A sauces. They're so good.
Yes.
If I could buy them in like bulk, I would put it in my refrigerator.
You put it on my friend. So I only had Chick-fil-A for the first time in my life last year, and yeah,
it's okay.
No. I've been in love with the sauce, and the sauce goes on everything.
Yes, everything. It's so good. I'm so glad that you got to have that experience, because being from Atlanta, it's like a part of our regular diet. Like vegetables, fruit, grains, dairy, Chick-fil-A.
I hear that. Aw. Well, thank you, Imani. My last question for you is, if you had to, and I know you've heard this question before, but I really wanted to ask you, if you had to tell your 10-year-old self something about the future, what would you tell her?
I would say there are things to worry about, but you're worrying too much.
Oh, and you used to worry a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the oldest of 4, so I think I was always just like, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
Thank
great advice.
you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here in Tam Talks.
Of
I look
course.
forward to seeing you just rise and rise and rise and rise and do excellent. Keep making us proud.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the platforms you've built. And stay safe and stay sane during this time.